Hello, this is Victor from the band DVNE, and today I'm going to talk to you about my new Synergy amplifier. If you follow us on social media, you might have seen a video of me demoing this last month while I was on tour. Now that I'm back, I'm going to take the time to do a proper in-depth video talking about the amp, how I came across Synergy, and I will do a proper test as well with everything mic'd up this time. Anyway, let's get to it. So here's my old rig. It's a GSM 800 from the 80s. I was also using a DR103 by Hiwatt from the 70s, old school amps, and I was using them as pedal platform, meaning my distortion will come from pedals, not from the amp. And this was class. The only issue I had with it is really loud, because this is where this amp shine. And I'm not the only one on stage. So I had to use a power station by Friedman, which helped me attenuate everything. It was good, but it's not perfect. The other thing is, and probably is the main reason I'm switching from this to a new amp, is because I wanted something new. I've played this rig for nearly 10 years. I think I've done the last 3 albums with a similar rig. Yeah, I played many shows, and I just wanted a change, you know, to bring something new to the table for the new album. So I discovered Synergy while looking for a new amp. I had my eyes on some of the classic high gain amps like Sold & Oslo, the Diezel VH4, Pitbull VH4, really what my favorite bands are using. The thing is, these amps are boutique amps and they're quite hard to find, so it's not like you're going to find them in any guitar shop, so I couldn't really test them. And if I couldn't test an amp, I wasn't feeling great spending more than 3K on one and maybe not being happy with it. And so I saw a rig rundown with Opeth, and they were playing this exact same amp. What's good for them is probably good for me. And yeah, what really drew me in was the preamp units. So those little things here, you basically put that in that. And I thought that was awesome because they were basically doing all these preamps I was looking for of my favorite amps. I think they've got license deal because it's officially made by the brands. Here you have got the Sold & Oslo preamps unit, and they are super cool. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to test everything, but before I do so, I'm going to show you each part of the amp because it's a modular amp, and I think it'll be interesting for you to discover what's inside of all of them. So, first thing first, the preamp units. It's what really drew me in when I checked Synergy, because they managed to get the official preamps of some of these classic amplifiers. As you can see, there's plenty of them, and it's only a portion of what they've got. There's even more on the website, a lot of stuff I want to try. But this is what I got to try before I made my decisions on what I wanted in my own rig. What's cool about them is they all have 2 channels. You can switch between them using MIDI. It also has some really basic stuff, but what it does great. You've got like gain for each channel. You've got a 3-band EQ on each of them, and then volume for each of them. Most of them have that, some others have a little less, a little more, with a few more switch. What they do all have in common is the 2 valve that you've got in the preamps, which is nice because I like valve amplifiers, preamplifiers as well. Another thing it does is it's got a cathode switch. I have no idea what that really means, but what I can tell you is it changes between different type of voicing. So meaning your preamp switch between a British type of voicing, a little bit more like trebly and nasal, but cool. Then you have something that's a bit more like American kind of voicing, and then they've got something of their own making, another type of voicing. Every amps have a recommendation on which one to use. Personally, I've just played around with them until I've got the one I found best with my setup. Okay, so the way it works is this goes into this. And really, as you can tell here, this is kind of out. What you do is you just put it back in, like this. Yeah, it's a bit difficult with one hand. And then you just have to screw the stuff back in. And yeah, this goes into this little rack unit, which is called SYN-2. And the SYN-2, on top of allowing you to have two preamps in it, it's got tons of fun utilities. Well, first you've got volumes for all of them, or all of the different preamps, but you've got a volume here as well. And then there's this stuff called SAG. Sorry, I still don't know what it does, but I've put it where they recommended putting it. You've got a channel switch at the front, and then you've got an input at the front. At the back, a lot of stuff. You've got another input, you've got a stereo output. I'm using everything in mono myself. You've got a stereo DI output with a cap SIM switchable, so you can get it on and off. You have a stereo send and return. I'm using a mono, but I'm using the send and return on that. And then finally it has MIDI input and through. Everything that's going to be switchable by MIDI is controlled with the SYN-2. The SYN-2 then goes into the Synergy 5050. The Synergy 5050 is basically a 100 watt full valve powered power amp. And that's in mono 100 watts. In stereo, you've got two 50 watt channels. I'm using everything in mono here. What it does great, I think, is nothing too crazy and nothing too fancy, but what it does great is you've got a true volume in it, meaning if you play old amp, you'll know what I'm talking about, but when you're playing old amp, when you go from 0 to 1, it goes straight from no volume at all to super loud. And what you want really is something that's, you know, kind of adjusting as you go. This does that. And after 5, it keeps delivering. Another thing I really like is the fact that you've got presence and depth on the power amps stage. I'm not touching that much the preamp stuff live, but when I'm in different rooms, I will definitely play with my presence and my depth depending on the acoustic of the room. And then finally, this goes into a cab, and you can use two cabs at the same time. You can use 4 cabs at the same time if you are using stuff in stereo and you feel like you want to be extremely loud, which could be fun, I guess. Right, before I get into testing, just a quick overview of the signal chain. I'm playing my Gordon Smith 9-string, and I'm playing mostly my bridge pickup, because that's what we play 99% of the time. It goes into my pedal board. There's not going to be much front things loaded into the amp, but you might hear a little bit of octave every now and then for some of the swelling. I use a noise gate every now and then. Then back into the amp, the preamp section, it goes into, for my heavy, my Diezel. So it'll be like rhythm, heavy, and leads. And then the Friedman, I'm using it mostly for the clean, sometimes for the crunch. Then it goes, I've got the Strymon Big Sky and my Strymon Timeline, so delay and reverb going into the send and return of the amp, on this. Then back into the Synergy, then into the cabinets, 2 speakers, V30s and G12T75, everything's mic'd up. I also have a direct output XLR coming from the SYN-2. Yeah, let's do it.
So I've been playing this rig for now about 2 months, and I played it on tour as well for like 20 shows, and you know, I got to play it in like small clubs and like big venues at festivals and what's not. So I think I got to hear the amp in like all the type of scenarios that will be important for me. I love the rig, I think it's awesome, and I'm very excited about it, to be honest. The thing is, I think tone-wise it sounds massive. It's like really big and heavy. It's got like, you know, that kind of tone valve head directness, which I really like, and it's warm. It's rich as well, tonally, and I mean, every preamp will sound different, but what I end up choosing for me sounds really like dynamic and rich, which I think is great. I also think it sits better in the mix than it used to. I felt like my old rig was maybe like spread sonically a bit more, and I think like this is a bit more focused, and because of that it just sits exactly right in the mix. I also find the rig really fun, mostly because of the modular preamp stuff, the fact that you can change them and try new things.
makes it like, you know, really appealing. I also find it cool because I feel like as I'm gonna keep playing it, I'm gonna be able to try some new stuff, and it means I'm not gonna get sick of it anytime soon, which is great. I also find the thing really practical. I mentioned, like, you know, we played loads of different type of venues, and I like when I go into a venue and I start playing to play around with the EQing, so it just, you know, fit right and sounds right in the context of the venue. And here you've got, you know, obviously all the preamps EQing, but you've got those presence and depth at this stage as well, which I think is awesome. Yeah, obviously it's a lot smaller. So this is my preamps right now, and I just, you know, it's like in a case, in a rack unit. It could be in a 2-rack unit. I choose a 3-rack for now. I might change for something a bit sexier as we go to make it look a little bit more like a valve head. But in the past, I used to have this big case, which had my amp and my attenuator, my fried stuff, and I think altogether with the case it was like 65 to 70 kilos. That's 20 kilos, 15 or 20, something like that, with all the cables inside. So yeah, a lot easier. I'm gonna be able to take that for fly-out shows at festivals, meaning I'm gonna get to play that all the time, and I'm super happy about that part. Another thing I really enjoy is because I used to have a pedal platform approach, I used to have loads of different gains and EQ and pedals like that to be able to tone sculpt everything and, you know, have like different kind of sounds. We cover quite a lot of sounds with Dune, and this really saved a lot of space, freed a lot of space on my amp, because I've got everything I need in terms of like gain and what's not over here. I've got 4 channels really. And that's more than enough, meaning I can now focus on some more fun stuff on my board, like, I don't know, whammy pedals and more type of modulation and kind of pitch shifting, all this kind of fun stuff that I've been kind of putting on the side because I had too many pedals and I didn't want to have something absolutely massive, you know. And so we are planning to record a new album, maybe next year or the year after. And I must say I'm really excited to take this in the studio, mostly because it offers a huge amount of flexibility when we are tracking guitars. The plan is for us to get a second one, then the other guitarist in June is thinking about it. And what we will be able to do is we'll be able to track, you know, we usually use 2 to 3 amps when we are tracking one guitar. We'll be using that, another one, maybe something else for fun, and with different kind of modules. And when it's time to do like a guitar overdubs or second tracking, we can just change stuff really easily, and that's without, you know, having to change the whole setup and mic up a lot of different other things. So I think this is quite you know, exciting and something that's going to help a lot with the next record. All right, before I go, I just wanted to say I've made another video where I cover more technical stuff like sending MIDI messages from the pedal board to the amp to change channel. I also wanted to, you know, give you some tips on how to use the 4-cable method to send your modulation, reverb and stuff like that to the send and return of the amplifier. It is straightforward, but there was a few things I wish I knew when I was doing it myself, especially with like where to put my noise gate and stuff like that. So yeah, that'll be in the other video. For anyone else, massive thank you for watching this. Also a big thank you to Steph at Synergy for sending us this rig. I'm having a blast, and yeah, see you later. That was better.